Hi, good morning, Flosstube. It is Helen D. You're far away today. This will be a quick video. I just wanted to show off the lap stand that I've been using. I've talked about it for a few videos. I thought I was going to be able to shoot this in a different way, but then realized I need both my hands to adjust, so we're going to make it work. So this is a Nurge stand. It is the Nurge 190-14. Nurge makes, this is their website. They have several different kinds. Mine is this one, and we'll kind of talk about the differences. So here it is. This is the kind that it could be a table stand, or when you sit down, you kind of just put your legs over it. So that's how I've been using it. I stitch in a recliner. So I was looking for something that would adjust to where I need it. I actually have a Lowry stand. I never use it. I've tried, I just can't get it where my arm is. And then you gotta adjust it over here to flip it to do the back, and it just doesn't work for me. So I was having a lot of elbow pain. I think I had some tennis elbow. It's gotten a lot better. I changed a couple things, one of which was getting a different stand. And this is the one I thought I would try. The reason I chose this one is I am a Q-snap stitcher, and this has the head for a Q-snap. So some of the others, they have one that's the exact same. It's the 1904, except that one has a different head. It is for hoops. I'm trying to show you the picture. So this is the one that if you used a hoop, that's how it would kind of tuck in there. But this one is made for, you could use it for a hoop also, but it fits a Q-snap. Now, I did have my dad make a couple of adjustments, which we'll talk about. So the reason I picked this one is it seemed from online very adjustable, because you can bend these any which way you need them to get it to be the position you want. I thought I would have more luck, right? Like you can turn this little knob on the bottom and, you know, bend this one back, and then you could turn one of these other knobs to loosen it and bend that one in, right? Like you have all these options for getting it to adjust to where you want it, including, and this was one of my favorite parts, this stick here. If you adjust this knob, you can actually move this forward or back. So that was nice, because if you've got it like where you're sitting and you just want it, I wish that were a little closer, you can make it a little closer. So the clamp here, it has clamps on the bottom. I just grabbed, this is Live on Little, not Live on Little, Real Comfort. So give me a second to get this in there, because I'll need both my hands. So you just shove it in here on the corner, and then you've got to tighten these up. And I always forget which way is tightening versus loosening. So hold on just a second. Okay, here we go. So probably should have tightened it a little more for you so you didn't have to watch me do this, but it is what it is. So this tightens up in here, and once it's in there, something was tickling my hand and it's a loose thread on the back, okay? So now that's in there. So then you can really adjust, you know, oh, I wish that were tipped down more. Okay, not a problem. I can tip it down more. So then when you're stitching, you just kind of loosen it up and you can flip it. I don't know if mine already is. Hold on. This bottom one. The bottom one? It's this one. You know, I don't do it as often because I have it kind of adjusted. Which one is it to that? This one. I'll get there eventually. Okay, it's this one. So when you're stitching and you need to end a thread on the back, this knob up here that's to the stick, if you loosen that, you can just flip right over to the back and then flip it back. I usually leave it kind of loose so that I don't have to reach up every time. The other thing that I thought was really cool was this piece tilts. So that's just one more way. Sorry, I don't have it tightened. That's one more way that you can really adjust it and angle it where you need it. Right? Like, oh, I wish you were up a little, or I'm working over here, right? You have a lot of adjustment. So that part has all been working great. I did have my dad, I had mentioned, I had to make a couple changes because as good as it was working, it wasn't perfect. Like it wasn't exactly like, eeh. So the first thing was extremely easy. I could have done this myself, but he was going to the hardware store anyway. I had him buy bigger bolts. It fit a Q-snap, but if your Q-snap has a lot of extra bulk from fabric, like this piece has a lot of extra fabric wrapped up, it was a little snug. And also, if you happen to hit like both of the clamps in there, it was a little snug. So between the clamps and all this extra fabric and the grime guard and everything, I couldn't get it far enough back to where it would really hold on good. So I just asked him to buy some bigger bolts. I think he ended up getting about 3/4 of an inch bigger. He took the bolt out, went to the hardware store, matched it up with one that was longer. He said, how much longer? I said 3/4 of an inch to an inch, because if there's extra sticking out here, that doesn't matter, no big deal. So he put in bigger bolts so that this will now hold something thicker. The other thing that he did, you'll notice mine is a little wobbly. When I was first using it, I had my husband, I'm like, okay, this is where, like I'm in my chair, this is my spot. I want it right here. Can you adjust it so that when I clamp it, it will be right here? And we couldn't quite get it. And he's like, well, where do you need it? And I'm like, 6 inches to the right. Like I needed it further over, but you sit on it in between your legs, not on the side. So I just couldn't get it. So when my dad came home, I had him make a change that it was a 50-50. Either it would work great or it would break. It's gonna be one of the two, but it ended up working. So what I had him do was this bottom piece, I'm like, I need this to turn, because then I can rotate it and get it those 6 inches to the right. So what he ended up doing was, it was on the bottom with 2 bolts. And I didn't know if it would just be something that he could unscrew and it would come right off. Turns out it was also glued. So just heads up. My mom had to stand on it. Well, he kind of maneuvered it to get this piece to come off. So I was rolling the dice, but it worked out okay. So then he put a bolt in it that I can loosen, and now this piece turns. So for me, that's what I needed. That might not be something you need. I now do have this sticky out piece on the bottom. For me, that doesn't matter because I don't intend on using this on a table. I use it in my chair, and I fold up a blanket and put the blanket under it so that it's not gonna ruin my chair. I might look into some kind of cap, or I could probably figure out how to get this flatter on the bottom. Honestly, I don't even see the head. I don't know how we got this in there. That's why I asked him to do it, because there's a screw in there, but I don't know what's on the other end. So that way, like I said, I can just kind of turn it even more to get that. I can turn it this way, which pushes this over, jam my thing in there, and then angle it, and it's where I need it. And I just put something under it so it doesn't ruin my chair, because it is tippy. Like on a table, it would be tippy. But I don't stitch at a table, and even at a retreat, I would be uncomfortable stitching like up here. I like to be back. So also we'll just show you while I have it out, it does fold down really small. So if this is something you were, sorry, I've got all these things in various stages of tightness. If you were going to a retreat, you could fold this. You could actually take this, you could take this piece out and then you could fold it right up. You could either get it to this state or you could flip this one over, right? Whichever way it fit in your bag better, you know, you could get it down pretty good. So that's just an option. It came in a couple pieces that I just had to put together. It was really just these bars. You know, you just have to put the bolt through to connect them and then tighten it up. So that was no problem. It didn't have instructions, but I just looked at the picture and I was able to figure it out really with no issues. And then, like I said, you can take this part off if it's too bulky. So that's the stand. Again, it was the 14090 1190-14 multi-adjustable needlework stand. I ended up getting mine on Amazon. I know that because I needed it quickly because of my arm, I wanted to keep stitching. I know that some needlework shops carry them. So there's options. If you Google it, you should find, you know, whatever's going to work for you. I would have liked to have got it from a shop, like I said, but I needed it quick so I could keep going. So this is just to show you, these are kind of the other ones. So hold on, let me pull you closer now that I got that down. This is mine. This is the one, this one doesn't have all these bendy adjustments and you sit on it, you can on the side. So that would be nice, but that's for just a hoop only. And then this is the version like mine that has the hoop head. And this one is the floor stand. So it's the hoop head version, but it has more of the bendy parts so that you could put it next to you on the floor. So that's what I've been using. It's been working. I probably haven't been using it as much as I should because I'm slower on a stand. I need to get used to it. I don't usually stitch two-handed, so I'm slower on a stand. And sometimes I just like to stitch in my little hoop or my Q-snap. I've also started using some of the Nurge hoops because they're lighter weight. I think what was starting to bother me was my bigger pieces in Q-snaps, they're heavy. And I know a lot of people have had this problem. So when you're holding it, right, it's putting a lot of pressure. I was feeling it kind of right through here on this arm, not my stitching arm, my holding arm. So that just relieves the weight from that hand. Some people have a hand problem with a Q-snap. That wasn't it for me, it was the weight. So there it is. Let me know if you have any questions. I will put a link to the Nurge website just so you can see the different ones and then what you need to look up if you want to research more with the different numbers. So I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry my dad can't MacGyver all of them for you. I'd be like, here, can you fix all these? But that was just a couple of the changes that we made to make it work for me. So hope it was helpful and I'll talk to you later. Bye.